Event was very educational. I learned a lot of things, and there were people from the youths of all ages. There were differently abled people, and then we also had participants from the LGBTQ community. And then during the panel session, we had people from different organizations. So yeah, it was very informative and also inclusive.
It's very insightful and very inclusive. And if the ideas were to be heard, I think this event would be very fruitful and amazing.
I think the event has gone very well so far.
It is one of the rare and important events because usually we are always educated on life, about life, how we should handle our decisions, how we should make our decisions, but we were never educated on SRHR. So I think it was very important event of our life.
Was way bigger and broader than I expected. It was very refreshing to see different guests, especially from the queer community and Pride Bhutan. So it was very refreshing to see them talk.
Panel discussion, because it allowed us as the audience and as the people who render those services to ask questions to the service providers on how it works and their functionality.
I would say that my favorite moment was that theatrical act. It was very unique, and it was a very different way to advocate people about the SRHR and then their sexual rights, and to advocate people about the sexual violence.
Panel discussion, I got to learn about the different perspectives from different leaders. So it was an interesting, and I got a lot of information that I wasn't aware of.
My favorite moment was the dance that has been performed by my friend Sangye Wandi.
I would say I really loved Sangye Lode's speech.
I have learned lots of new things like about SRHR, sexuality, how can we overcome it?
The service provided by different associations in advocating the youth about SRHR, and I learned the things that we haven't learned since childhood. So I think I mostly learned a lot of new things.
I learned a lot of new things, especially during the panel discussion when the youths were putting up questions to the panelists. So I learned as to how different organizations are working towards implementing the SRHR, and how they're working towards advocating the youths about the SRHR from a very young age.
The new things I learned was probably how when the two transgender women talked about the discriminations that they faced and were facing due to their predecessors. So that was something that I learned and acquired knowledge.
People are always willing to learn new things, and their willingness to learn these things allow everyone to grow, everyone to learn new concepts, and that is one of the most important parts of advocacy. So I feel like I learned that today the work that I do as an advocate is achieved.
As being youth myself, I'll talk from my point of view. We are always, I think we are not advancing in talking about SRHR, because as a youth we feel shy to talk about sexual. So I think the main issue is that not every youth are educated on SRHR.
I think the main issue is probably young people not getting enough information, or them not wanting to get themselves educated on SRHR. I think that's the most important part.
So during the panel discussion, one of the youths put up a point saying that the youth, they need to be educated about the SRHR from a very young age. So yeah, I agree with that point, and I think that is a gap that we need to try to fill in. We have to try to advocate the youth about the SRHR from a very young age, because as it is right now, I see that we are advocating, but it's mostly towards the college students, the university students, and high school students. So I think the advocacy should be done even to the youth in the secondary and primary schools.
The gaps that I see in SRHR for Bhutan is, as the topic was said, It was very binary, it was very heteronormative, and I feel like it can extend beyond that. And the issues is that the service provided by SRHR, it is available but not accessible, and that is the biggest issue that we're facing as the queer community currently.
In future, I want to see all the youths should be educated on SRHR.
I'd like youth to be proud and to proudly stand for their own rights, own sexual rights, because I see people having suffering from violating their sexual rights. So I would want them to own up to their rights.
I want the youth to be able to talk openly about SRHR because we always hide about the most important part of our life, about the sexual and the rights we want. So I want them to be educated on SRHR.
I would like to ask the government that to educate the youths on SRHR and to our younger people also.
When it comes to SRH, I do feel like the youths can take another step. So SRH basically is learning of our bodies, learning of who we are sexually and as humans. So I do feel the youth can take another step, a little broader step themselves to learning how they behave, how they act, and why they act that way, and to see this concepts and services that are out there for them to understand it. So if the youth could take a little better step on that, it would be amazing. And if those services were better reachable, not just available but accessible to a very utmost point, that would be amazing.
Basically, I think that we should educate the youth from a very young age, and I think they should be. I think that they should know about their sexual rights, about the different sexual violence from a very young age, so that we can remove the social stigma. And since it begins with themselves, if they know about all these issues from a very young age, then as they grow up, I think their social stigma won't stand in a way.
I would ask them why it is always men and women, first one. The second one is, I would ask how you can make youth inclusive without tokenism. The third one is, what are they working on? Are they working on policies that are gender inclusive and not gender exclusive? So I would ask them these questions because I really feel that even though the government has been pretty functional in the last few years, there could a lot more effort could be put by the government from their part.
I would like the government to stress more on educating the youth about the SRHR and the sexual violence from a very young age, and to implement SRHR as a part of a subject or a different club in the schools so that children can learn about it from a very young age.
I would say we need the voices of the youth need to be heard and not just waver halfway through.
I would like to ask the government that to educate the youths on SRHR and to our younger people also.
Government is already doing a lot for the youth. So just I want to add one thing that I want everyone to be educated at young age, not only cities in towns, but also in the rural areas, especially in Eastern and Western, they are not as don't have more opportunities, and they are not advocated on SRHR like we are advocated in cities.
Young people really do play a big role in improving SRHR because we are the future citizens, and it is our job to know and advocate on our sexual reproductive health and rights to help the next generation know about their sexual reproductive health and rights.
Younger peoples are achieving that the youth of today has been educated in SRHR and sexuality rights.
So we as the young people, first of all, it starts with ourselves. So first of all, it's very important that we know what SRH is, and then we know about the sexual rights, about the sexual violence. So firstly, we have to educate ourselves, and then we have to start with removing that stigma from ourselves, and then we have to advocate others so that we can remove the stigma together.
I think the young people's role in improving SRHR is basically to learn what it is, to learn how it works, and learn how it is implemented in their lives and how it plays a huge role in their lives. Because as Carl Jung once said, if you take a personal problem very seriously, then it becomes a social problem, and you will be solving a social problem. So I think that is one of the ways that SRHR could be important for the youth, by taking it personally and how it works in their body.
The role is being responsive, and so that we can educate ourselves and then also educate the around us who are not aware of the important topic of our lives, like SRHR.
Young people can make a difference by seeing a problem, by seeing if they have a problem with something, see why it is a problem. If young people are being silenced, make sure you are heard, make sure you are loud, and make sure that the problem is being heard by the individual that is supposed to solve that problem. So young people, no matter what your interest is, they should start doing that. They should start making their voices louder. They can make their voices louder by being accountable for what they are saying for, and to make sure that voice is heard and the voice is acted upon by the person who is providing those services.
As I mentioned before, young people, they should firstly get themselves aware and have knowledge on their sexual reproductive health and rights. So that is the main driving factor for any young people.
To make changes, first of all, it should start with ourselves. So first of all, we have to learn about SRHR, and we have to remove that stigma from ourselves. We have to be inclusive. We have to learn, educate ourselves, and support differently able people than the people from the LGBTQ community. And then we have to try to remove that social stigma first, and then we have to advocate to our friends, our families, and then together we have to try to remove that stigma.
I think young people can make a lot of difference if we were rightly educated on SRHR. So we, as a youth, we can do a lot of things, and people usually listen to us. So I think we have to be responsive and talk openly about SRHR to everyone surrounding us, to the society and everyone. So we have to do our best to break the stereotype about SRHR.
The young people can make lots of difference, like educating our parents, teaching our younger generation.
YPR RTC was initially part of this whole Grand Youth Conclave. So we were part of the advocacy program and the action plan, which led to this whole big program right now. So initially the program was secluded, small, and it did not have much impact, but right now seeing our multi-purpose hall, our auditorium full of people, it feels good that people actually came here to listen and to get themselves educated on SRHR and the programs that this advocacy program that happened today. It was really unique, mind-blowing, and it was something new that I've never seen before. So it was a really good experience. As a representative of YPR RTC, we are glad that we were able to be a part of this program.